Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Call It Anything podcast, season 5. Back here after a while, joined by
Dominic Castillo.
Uh, XXGG Killer XX.
it's been some time, right, guys?
Yeah, man. It's been, I think, a little over a year, maybe a year and a half since we last did an episode together. Glad to be back.
It's
It's been about
been
a year, and
quite some
we're
time.
still all in different places.
Indeed,
Different new
we are.
places.
Indeed, we are.
Well, technically, Dom's back to his old place from when we started the podcast, but he's back from his new place that he was at. Which, first off, to really show the progress of this podcast and to show how long it's been going, we got to congratulate Dom right here on the podcast for his graduation from Berkeley.
What do you think, man? Appreciate it,
Congratulations.
dude. Appreciate it.
Isn't it
Um,
crazy? This podcast was going for the entire length of your time there in college.
that is true. It's really been that long, man. Time flies a little too fast sometimes. And I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to put this into words, but I'm just kind of like surprised we came all this way, Like 2 years ago. I didn't think I'll be honest. I did not think I would actually like get to this point. I feel like I would at some random point fail like a course, and then I'm like, oh, sorry guys, can't continue university. Goodbye.
Hmm.
And then here we are. We made it.
Let me
We
ask you this, Dom.
What's up?
Did you have like a moment where like things hit you, where like it kind of like hit you and the realization set in that like it has been this long, all those years are finally culminating?
Yeah. There's been moments where you come across a brick hitting you right in the face, and you're like, uh-oh, what am I gonna do? Um, but I've been mostly just keeping to myself, keeping focused to my work. It was difficult at times. I'll be honest. It's been quite a rough ride just to get to this point. But I feel like that I've done my best, and I feel like even though that imposter syndrome still comes, every now and then, with me thinking, oh, maybe I don't really deserve to be at this big school, right? That is Berkeley. I still am hopeful and happy that I'm, you know, uh, able to study at this huge university. And at this point now, finally I've graduated too.
Yeah. Crazy journey it's been, especially because, when we started this, we hadn't started high school actually, or not high school, college, because we had started it over the summer. And the
Yeah,
listeners have gotten to hear your entire journey from obviously starting off online to now being able to go in person. And now you're graduating, man.
that's it's life. Life goes too fast.
Life definitely does, because like I said, or like Gio mentioned, it's been about a year and so much has happened in that time frame, but we're back. We hopefully feel we're at a point in life that we can come back together, the three of us, and get this podcast going again.
100%.
Gio, anything you want to give any updates on? Because I mean, it's a year, man. It's been a long time.
I am one semester away from transferring to a four-year university, and um, I can't say that on podcast. Uh, I'm kind of stressed. GPA tanked a little. I had one bad semester, and that tanked my GPA. I hate it here. But dude, I don't know. The other day, Dominic's graduation made me realize that I'm going to be the last one out of our friend group to graduate from a university, and it kind of bummed me out. But looking back, I did enjoy the three gap years that COVID gave me. So. Can't complain. What else is there? Mm, the crypto job. Dominic and I used to work there together. Uh, as some of you may know, the Clippers left, what is it, like a year ago at this point, or like one season ago. And that really tanked the business at the crypto.com arena. I don't know if I should be sharing this, but yeah, so this last season it was like incredibly hard. I wasn't working as many hours. Like I was lucky to get 1 day a week. But next season there's a lot of people potentially moving away and leaving the job, so I'm gonna be moving up on the seniority list. So hopefully I can make a lot of money before I move to my next university. Which low key, I don't think I'm getting into any of them, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're going to, because there's all different sorts of path, and we should never, look down on one path over the other. I will say that was always like my dad's sort of biggest thing with like the way the school system is now. It's like there's so many vast options, but it feels like they aren't presenting all of them as viable options. Like when it comes to like high school, when they're telling kids about furthering their education, it's like there's a lot of different options for a reason because people people are different, they have different ways they learn, they have different learn sets, and there's all sorts of options for all those different people that have different styles of learning, that have different ways of, you know, learning material. And like it feels like a lot of those options aren't presented as viable or aren't presented in a positive light compared to just college in general.
Yeah, there's a for my English class, we recently watched a play turned into a movie called Death of a Salesman, and the ending of it made me really reflect on uh pretty much what we've experienced because I know we've had a lot of conversations about um are we like doing enough, right? In
Mhm.
terms of like, being a good sons, uh, really working towards having the future that we deserve or that has been given us to by our parents through their hard work. And it kind of like the the kind of like the idea that the play wants to show to us is that sometimes it's like despite our best efforts, we're just not meant to win or be like the best, and that's okay. And that really got me thinking because one characteristic that Dominic and I share is we're both how should I say this? Like we're both ego driven, right? And not like in a bad way, like we just want the best that's available to us, and that's something that like always drives us forward. But maybe like when I'm looking at the schools that I want to apply to, it's literally like the top 8 of the state, and like maybe I should be focusing on another like on smaller in quotation schools and just like focus on to the like the best education that I could get without stressing so much. Because it's like I don't know, you know, it's kind of like what do we do from here?
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely get that. That it's interesting you said that, like it's the three of us, because it's like it is kind of true to like I guess it's easier to like speak for the three of us because of how connected the three of us have been, with this podcast. And you know it's presented a lot of time for the three of us to like share and talk with one another, and then of course you two working together. Like I think Gio's even said it here on the podcast that working with Dom like drew him closer to Dom, like in terms of friendship. And it's like like I definitely see what you're like saying about the whole, just there's something there for like the three of us that are just trying to be our best forms. And it's like I don't know, it's like I also like really liked what Dom was saying about the whole like imposter syndrome, where like sometimes you get in that mindset of wondering like if you're even deserving of this, because it's like sometimes I feel that way when I like think about the way my life has gone and I think of the way things were set up for me and I'm just like, you really wasted it, didn't you? Like you it's not to say like I didn't work hard because I obviously worked hard to get to the positions I got to, but it's like, man, you really let like the pressure get to you, and it's like so many people would have killed to be in your position and yet you fumbled it. But I mean, things worked out in the end, because it's
Yeah, it's
like which is why I like emphasize the whole there's different viable paths to take, and I think people can really look at like Geo's path and Dom's path and like realize that like you just kind of have to be patient, like just because it's labeled a 4-year university doesn't mean you have to get everything done in the 4 years, where like you have to put yourself on a time frame.
yeah. Also, like this is like I don't know why like how like suddenly we just got into this very deep conversation, but the one thing that I'm really like grateful for is the friends that I have around me because it's always like in we were like this, at least from my perspective, we were like this in high school. We were always like trying to um not like officially compete against each other, but we were always like okay, he's doing this, so I should do this too. Like we were using each other as motivation to like be in the best classes. Like I don't know if you guys remember this, but when going into I think junior and senior year, we would always be asking, "Oh, how many APs are you taking?" It's like, "Oh, I'm only taking 3." I'm like, "Oh, I'm taking 5." Or like, "Oh, maybe I should add 2 more to my schedule next." Right. So we always try to be like on the same level of each other, and that's like that's one thing that keeps driving me forward academically. It's like Dominic's graduated from Berkeley. Ricardo's graduated from CMC. Diego's graduating from Dominguez Hills, and it's like, dude, I don't want to be like the one left out, so I'm like pushing myself to uh try to like get into the best school or the best school that I could possibly get into. And I want to reiterate, I'm not getting into any of them, but I like it's the idea that's worth mentioning.
It's so funny you brought up the high school stuff because like it's so funny looking back on that and it's like, dude, if Dominic could have, he would have taken AP advisory somehow just to be able to say he had like 7, 8 full AP classes he was taking. Which I
I
think in that
mean,
last year, Dom, didn't you have like 6, 7 APs?
I think I had, was it 6 APs? I had
You had art, you had calculus,
art,
you had
calc,
English.
PC, English. Uh, did
You
I
took physics the previous year, right?
with Professor? But I
I'm
think I
trying.
took AP. Was there AP Spanish?
There was an AP Spanish.
There
I
was
don't know if
not.
you took it though.
I never took
There
AP
was.
Spanish.
Huh.
I don't know. I just remember when the time came junior year, Dom was like really trying to fill his APs. And I took more than I was supposed to or that I wanted to just because I got talked into it. It wasn't because I was trying to be like, oh, senior trying to be lazy. It was like I just wasn't interested in two of like the classes, but I got like talked into it.
See, it kind of like it's a double-edged sword, really, because looking back at it, how helpful was taking AP Art when you got to Berkeley? It,
Not really helpful. I mean, at the end of the day, the majority of the general requirements for Berkeley only there's like one course
yeah.
for general recs that require art and literature, but that arts and literature is so broad that it could literally mean anything that doesn't have to do with like actual like art, you know?
It could have been satisfied probably by like one of the AP English classes.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like we were tricked into taking APs because I feel like yeah, yes, they do look good on your transcript, but they also tank your GPA. And I don't know about you guys, but that senior year, bro, AP Physics tanked my GPA. AP Calculus tanked my GPA. And though the only ones that you really do need, at least in my experience with like talking to counselors, is like the English and math ones. Granted, if I passed AP Calculus, that would have been really nice, but I didn't. But AP Physics, not necessary. AP Gov,
And then plus,
that
at
was
the end of the
necessary.
day, even the teachers like told us like it's not necessarily the grade that matters, it's what you get on the test. So it's
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter if you got an A in the class if you got a 2 or a 3 on the test compared to someone who maybe got a B, C in the class but got a 5 on the test, and like really proved they knew what they were doing. It was just maybe they weren't the best, let's say, with like the course material, but like they understood the concept enough to be able to test well on it.
so like either way you lose because if you get a good grade but you don't get credit for taking the class, you did it for nothing. Or if you get credit for taking the class but you get a bad grade, your GPA goes down.
It really truly is that double-edged sword, like you said. But yeah, I'm just happy that we've all kind of settled in at this point in life. And I really like what Gio said. Like our friend group has always been really supportive of one another. It's like that's why I've always liked, not to glaze my friends, but I've always been a bit proud of the friend group I formed around myself because it's like we obviously joke around with one another, but like no one's no one's judgmental in the way life takes one another, because it's like we got so many different friends at different points in life, and no one ever kind of feels ashamed of where they're at. And
Yeah.
like no one tries to shame anyone unless it's like trying to just be like serious about like wanting that person to get like not necessarily serious, but like focus and like really kind of see the flaws. Like let's say if they're like not in a good point in life, but they're like refusing to acknowledge it, it's like we try our best to help them out. But none of our friends, I don't think, have ever really gotten to that point. But it's like all of us, even when things were taking a bit more time, we were just like, hey, we understand life is different for everyone. Not everyone has the same circumstances. Although some of the choices do make us sad, like the homie Willie going off to the Marines.
I was just thinking about that. Dude, we haven't talked to him in a cool minute.
Yeah.
I wonder if he got deployed to Afghanistan or something.
Oh man. Dom, anything you want to throw in?
Um, a lot has occurred over, I would say, from the beginning of university till now. Um, I, I mean, where do I begin? I feel like I don't feel if I recall the last episode that we had before this one, I think was before I went to Japan for the first time, if I'm not incorrect. So I mean, being able to finally get that dream of going to Japan, like oh my God, Japan is still it's still in my head. I still want to end up doing things over there, and I have surprisingly done things over there. In terms of like being able to socialize and talk to people. And funny enough, I went there a second time, all expenses paid off, thankfully, by my scholar match scholarship people, who thankfully allowed me to use career development funds that I've accrued up over the years to attend a language school over there. And I've made a lot of friends. I still talk to them. Over in Berkeley, I have made a good amount of cool people. A good amount of cool people I got to meet. Good amount of friends. Everyone over there is super cool. A lot of dudes with like cool cars and stuff like that. I mean, I can't really dumb it all down. There's so much I want to talk about. Uh, And yeah, man. There's so much for me to talk about. I don't really think I could do it in just one episode. But yeah, man. There's a lot. There's a lot that I had to go through. I was thankfully able to be blessed to be able to go to Japan. I still want to end up going back someday soon. I don't know when, but at the moment, I'm currently in talking with my professors, who have the potential of like allowing me to like potentially open up my own company in Japan and all that stuff. But it's not, an overnight thing. It's a process. It's gonna take time. At the moment, in this recording, I'm currently applying for jobs, a job,
Whoa,
if
man.
you will,
Whoa. Censor
a
that on the
job,
official recording, man.
a career, to get money because I have to be um accountable for my own actions. What? I don't want to do that. But yeah, I have to be a bit serious now. School is over. No more schooling. This ain't a high school anymore. I have to be responsible for my own actions from here on out. Whether it be attaining my own career, and maybe someday, we don't know when, but someday I'm gonna be moving out because my parents want to move back to their home region per se. Once my brother finally graduates from UC Santa Cruz, so there's a lot to be done. It ain't over. There's a lot to be done, but I just hope everything goes well. Same things with you, Mr. Gio, and you, Mr. Joseph. There's a lot to do, and not much time. Yeah.
Nonsense. We have the rest of our lives, man.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing I've been thinking about. I don't mean to cut you off, Tom, but the the whole moving out thing, because I want to do what Dom did and like move out and live on campus or near campus to get like the whole experience of going to a 4-year university. But then I also don't want to, be too far away from my parents in case they need me for anything or give up my job at the crypto arena. So it's a lot of thinking that I have to do regarding that.
That is true, man. I think for me, and I don't know if it's the same for y'all, but it's like for me, once I finally graduated, the drive back home, I was just thinking in my head like, well, now what? Like, what do I do? Because most of our lives we were pretty much directed what to do. Go to primary, then secondary, and then go to la prepa, meaning high school, and then from there you have the option of going to a trade college or vocational or university per se. And it's like after that, then it's like, and then what? At the moment, I think the job market is kind of saturated. Uh, I've seen a lot of my peers stressed out over the semesters about trying to obtain a job and such as that. And at the moment, it is a little strained per se in terms of being able to secure one, considering our current aspect of AI and such as that. And that's just how it is, man.
Good to get an update on everyone, though.
You should come back to crypto, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Oh man, it feels good doing this.
Yeah,
But
if only our sponsor gave us the money to continue it, we wouldn't have to go on such breaks.
Real and true.
I don't know what bro's talking about. We paid for the next season, and then boom.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna like that I said that.
I know. The moment he listens to this episode, he's gonna be like, he must be talking about a different sponsor because he was always putting the money forward for us to do. I mean, he's gonna be happy to hear this episode, but he's also gonna be offended by that. You might move a couple spots down the list again, man.
It was just a joke.
Dude, imagine if we did an episode like that where it's just my dad tier ranking the friend group like on his list, just trying to figure out where everyone falls. That would be hilarious. But that's definitely something that I mean we always said it, but like we're definitely like trying to plan out what we want to talk about. Obviously, given the name, we'll talk about anything, man. Which today we want to talk about video games.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna stop here and start the part two, so we don't like get cut off mid conversation. So, Dominic, cue the outro.
Um, yeah, man.
Flashing lights. No, there probably won't like we can edit in post that there's no like break, but if it seems like a weird break, it's because of that. Like we had to edit two different things together. All right, so Gio wanted us to talk about gaming because it's kind of a hot topic right now.
Is it?
It is, man. It
You,
is.
you're literally the one that proposed this subject, and you're gonna ask me, is it?
But I mean, yeah. Okay, so a lot has happened in the 1 year that we've been gone. A lot of games have come, a lot of games have gone, and some big games have been announced. Where should we start?
Oh, dude, GTA 7 coming out 2038 or something. I don't know. But before that, guess what? GTA 6. You guys want me to talk about it? You guys want to talk about it? Or
Sure, man.
Do you want
okay,
to talk about it, bro?
I'll talk about it. So after, golly, so GTA 5 from
Wait,
Rockstar
wait,
Games.
wait, wait, wait. Are you gonna do like a whole story synopsis?
Are you gonna interrupt me again? As I was saying, GTA 5 came out in the year 2013. And as such, Rockstar Games has not put out a AAA aside from Red Dead Redemption 2 in the past, how long has it been? 12, 13 years now? Holy cow. Ever since the release of GTA 5, people have been playing the exact same game for the past decade or so, and people are fiending for the next GTA. And so, as of last year, during Thanksgiving of last year, or no, of 20 Thanksgiving 2023, Rockstar Games has finally released the first teaser trailer for GTA 6. And people have been going crazy around the clock trying to analyze each snippet of the trailer. And as of recently, we have come to an unfortunate reality where Rockstar Games is going to delay the game by another year. The game was supposed to release fall of this 2025, but now it's going to be moved over to March 2026. And so many people are joking around, but living with that reality that people want to survive. It's a means of survival just to play the next Grand Theft Auto game. And the game's going to be taking place in the fictional city of Leonida, also being Miami, including the Keys and such as that. But I feel like, oh, sorry, what was that?
I just want to ask. It's not being it's not Vice City.
It's. I'm not sure if it is going to be called Vice City. I just know it's the city of Leonida. Oh, it is Vice City, but in the greater Miami area of Oh, I think Florida is meant to represent Leonida, the fictional name, and Miami is meant to represent Vice City as the fictional name.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So yeah, I have been playing Grand Theft Auto for a good chunk of my life. If you have Geo, or particularly you, Joseph, but it's been pretty much a good grand amount of my childhood, and it's been quite some time since I played the game myself, GTA 5. But honestly, after looking at the trailer for GTA 6, I've been blown away at just how realistic the trailer looks and such as that. But also kind of scared about the price point because seeing how good the game looks, I feel like the price point is gonna reach over $80, in my opinion.
Didn't wasn't like a year ago people were speculating that it would be near $100.
Oh yeah,
that's
I
what I
remember
was.
having that convo with Dom where I was like telling him that like people online were like talking about like oh, with the way this game is, the base price, not deluxe edition, not, the ultra whatever editions that they do that would be like usually like 120, 150 range when it's like comes with all this extra stuff. They were like, oh, the base game might be $100. And of course, you had people who were like, I would pay $100. I would pay $100.
I wouldn't pay
And
$100.
I wouldn't pay 100, but I feel like people would regardless pay for it because people have been waiting more than a decade for this game to come out. So people are gonna pay for it. They're gonna put up the money for the experience. That day one experience,
Yeah.
regardless if it really matters or not. But I mean, talking about other games, I mean,
I mean, it is
talking about
funny.
uh,
Sorry to interrupt. It is
go ahead.
funny that like people would pay that much for the day one experience, as if every game that's ever came out, the day one experience isn't a bunch of lag and glitches and requiring launch day hot fixes for a bunch of like issues that happen at release.
Yeah.
But it's like that hype of like being like, oh, I was there on release day.
Dude, remember when we were day one Overwatch 2? So much fun.
Dude, and trying to get into just the game itself was so hilarious.
I feel
I still
like
think of that one meme where it's like the SpongeBob clip and it's like, whose order 2000 number 2353? And it's like everyone starts cheering. And it was like, that's literally what the Overwatch queues were like.
Dominic, do you think they'll have like a PS5 version of the game and
Well,
like a like a dumbed down PS5 version, and then on PC it'll be like capable of looking as great as advertised?
it's funny that you ask, as in the second trailer that recently came out. At the end of the trailer, after many people, you know, talking about how good the trailer like actually looked like, at the end of the trailer, it said all captured in game on the PlayStation 5. So you're absolutely right that most PC releases off of console games look way better. But looking at the game itself, if not like beefed up by Rockstar in any way, if that game trailer was all rendered in PlayStation 5 base model, I feel like that alone is going to be an absolute blast. And I hope to God that Rockstar Games isn't like, I'm not sure how to say. I forget what's the term for when companies like release like fake
Overselling?
oversell. It's not. Is it overselling? I'm not sure. But of that nature, where the in-game trailer looks way different than what the final product release looks like. But if it is true, and I pray that it is, I just hope it's good and runs perfect at 60 frames, because or maybe not at 4K, but maybe at 2160. But regardless, I feel like that the PlayStation base release is gonna be great. I'm I'm
Only time will tell.
indeed.
There are like two things that like spark up to me when it comes to like discussing this whole thing about GTA 6, its price point, its performance. Because it's like, I don't know, like I saw like so many people like because of the second trailer, like talking about the like immense details, like they were talking about like there was like a glass of, I think it was like champagne and like or like a beer bottle and you could literally see like the condensation on it, like the bubbles and like the drops of, like because it's a cold bottle, like you could see the drops of water forming on it, and
Mhm.
like the carbonation inside of it. And it's like people were just having like the discussion that you usually see nowadays with video games because of, especially like you buy a game and it's like 120 gigabytes that needs to be downloaded onto your system, onto your place or onto your PlayStation, your Xbox, your PC. It's like, is that level of detail worth it,
That's
Right.
another. Also, one thing I also wanted to bring up. um how Dom said how realistic the game looks. I don't know about I don't know if it's like a big thing for you guys, but I couldn't care less how realistic my video game looks. Because I remember there's a bunch of mods for Cyberpunk, for example. They're like hyper realistic. It's like you're driving like outside, and it's like, why do I want my video game to look like that? It is like, I don't know. Like for me, video games are supposed to like bring you into a world, right? Not like turn that world into what you see every day. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's cool that it's like we're capable of making like these really hyper realistic features for video games. But it's like, I don't know, it's not that important for me how realistic the game is.
Interesting, interesting. I feel like that for the nature of this game in particular, in GTA, okay, realism doesn't have to be 100% there, but it's just the feeling of it being real. I think is what is important. Because I understand that in Cyberpunk there are like hyper realistic mods such as that, and that sort of look is kind of what CD Projekt Red was trying to go for, with like a dystopian realistic Los Angeles in the year 2077. But for GTA, I feel like I'm not sure if y'all seen the trailer. I would assume y'all seen, but it's just the way people act, the way people talk, the way people just like move around physically. I'm assuming they're using mocap and such as that, which is motion capture. I feel like that feeling of just like real people as compared to GTA 5, where like the NPCs kind of felt wonky, they didn't feel real. They constantly kept repeating the exact same like voice lines over and over again through the dialogue tree. I think GTA 6 might be able to overcome that into sure not look real, but produce characters that feel like real people.
Yeah, that's something that just to clarify, I meant like visually realistic. Like in a way, like, oh, dude, that car looks like, and it's hard to describe. Like, pretty much, like, think,
I'll give you an example that I can think of. When they released one of the new Mario games, like people like zoomed in and like you could see the individual strands of hair in his mustache, and people were like, "But why?"
right, like the stuff like that. But like when it comes to like actual like the characters and like the like what you said the mocap, that's like very important to me because one game that I've played recently, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, did a wonderful job with its captures and its voice acting, and it is like it's incredible because you can actually like create that connection with the characters and kind of like feel for them in a way that it should be when it comes to $50 and up video games. But then when you look at Assassin's Creed Shadows, the latest entry in that series, it was horrific. Like the facial animations were so jarring that I couldn't get into the story, and also the voice acting was kind of meh. So like if you're paying like I don't know, let's say the GTA 6 will be from anywhere from $80 to $100. I expect like the characters to be incredible, like well written, the mocap to be really well, the voice acting to be really well, and like the world to have like a certain atmosphere and vibe to it. That's important. But like if she's like if I don't know, what's like like a insignificant feature that it could have, like if you could see the detail in the character's spit when he spits, like who cares about that? But everything else is important.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I agree in that sense because it's just like I don't know, like the biggest, like the biggest argument I have against games with like these super realistic things. And to me it's like it's weird because let me see. How do I want to get this argument out there? So basically it's like the biggest thing to me is that like they use it as an excuse for why the games have to be so expensive, you know?
Mm.
Like games used to cost way cheaper, but they started getting more and more expensive, and that was one of the main things they would lean on is, hey, you know, things are improving, these things are getting more expensive to make, so we need to raise the prices because if you want things to look this realistic, we have to up the charge. We have to up it from 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to jump. Well, actually, no, I don't even think they did 70. It jumped straight from like 60 to $80 now, usually for like the normal game. It's kind of annoying, but it's like I do kind of understand the standpoint of like, oh, and so you just want game companies to keep shelling out like the same old graphics that aren't improving with the times and still charging you that amount for it. But it's like, no, I don't want them to charge you that amount. Because like Gio saying, like if they're gonna do all this, then if you're gonna charge this much, then of course you expect all that. But it's like if you're not going to, then the price should be lowered. Because like the one thing that comes to mind, because I actually saw this argument like a couple was it days ago or like a week or two ago? I don't remember. Like people were talking about Pokemon, and the one thing that people always talk about with Pokemon is its jump from the 2D art style to the 3D art style. And personally, I don't think there's been a game visually from the Pokemon standpoint that I've enjoyed since they made that jump to the 3D style. Have I enjoyed playing the games in the 3D style like Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Sun and Moon, even more recent ones like Scarlet Violet and Sword and Shield? It's like, yeah, I've enjoyed playing the games, but the art styles and this whole 3D style, and it's not necessarily realistic because nothing in the Pokemon game is like actually like realistic because it's still very much in that cartoon style. But it's like none of it visually has been enough for me to be like, oh yeah, I've enjoyed this jump to 3D. I prefer this to the 2D style. This jump in performance and graphics is enough for me to be willing to pay this price of the games. It's like I've always not enjoyed it, but then it's like you see people in the comments that are like, "Oh, so you wanted them to keep the same 2D style going and keep charging the same for what is basically like copy pasta, like copy pasta, copy and
You
paste,
copy pasta.
like I kind of get their argument, because like let's say if Pokemon was still making their games look the same as Diamond and Pearl, Black and White, um, but no, wait, no, I think, oh well, technically, uh, Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald were still like that sort of like mix of a 2D style, but I mean, I think Black and White was when they jumped to like less of a pixel style to like more of a 2D style, or I think they call it like 2.5D or whatever. But it's like I kind like again, I kind of get that argument. It's like if they're gonna charge the same price and just keep recycling that same art style, I kind of get it. But it's like to me, I've always been one that preferred that art style. I felt the games benefited more from it than like now with the 3D style. Like I don't know, I just don't feel as immersed. Like how Gio was saying about like wanting like you don't sometimes want super realism visually in a game. It's like there was always something unique about Pokemon and its art style when it was in the pixel style and then the 2D style was like I don't really feel a lot of that when I'm playing in the 3D style. But it's like I don't know, like they're still gonna keep making these improvements because I mean now they're coming out with the Switch 2 and it's gonna have better oh my gosh, what's the word that they use? Hardware, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like people are expecting all these jumps. I'm just like, but why though? You know, I've seen a lot of cool ideas from people of how they could have changed the art style while still remaining in 2D, or 2.5D, and the game still would have looked good. People wouldn't have been complaining about it visually. And I look at it, I'm like, yeah, if they had switched to that, I wouldn't have complained about still being in a 2D style because hey, sometimes that's what you want out of a game, is like not every you don't want every game to be hyper realistic, not every game needs it. With games like GTA and like Red Dead Redemption, I could see it, but like I don't know, it feels weird that like now because the hardware is getting to that point, it's like you see a lot of games trying that.
Yeah.
And then it's funny because then you see other games like especially in the sports realm that aren't doing that, like Madden and 2K, they all feel like just copy paste from the previous years with little to no improvement, despite the hardware improving to get better. And it's funny because then Geo brought up whole PC thing. It's like you see people doing mods that look 10 times better with their like face scans and their animations. It looks 10 times better than what AAA companies are putting out here.
That is real and true. That is real and
See,
true.
one thing that I hope comes from GTA 6 is like, okay, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but like, it was mentioned by someone else, so it wasn't my idea. But it's like, wouldn't it be kind of cool? Well, not cool. Cool's not the right word, but it kind of also is. If like when you run someone over in GTA 6, like you can see their bones sticking out of their body, you know?
Yeah, man.
You wouldn't think that's like
No,
because then it makes you feel bad for the NPCs. Maybe like you won't run them over every single time.
per chance.
No?
Per
All
ch-
right, that's cool.
I don't know that kind of confuses me.
Well, I mean, in GTA 5, it's just a blood splatter, but you don't really see anything much more than that. And I don't think we're gonna get any of that in the next game.
Oh, and then real quick, because I've been yapping a bit, and I want to give you guys time to talk as well. But speaking of hardware, and when we were speaking about the prices of gaming potentially increasing to like $100, it has to be stated that this argument blew up even more because of the announcement of the Switch 2 and the way a lot of these prices were looking. Specifically, what is it, like $500 for the Switch 2 and then $80 for a game? And it's like,
I think it was like $90 for like the physical copy of the game.
oh
And
yeah,
it's
because
like,
then it was like the regular version, which is like 80. You're not even technically buying the game. It's like the cloud to like download it or whatever. I don't know. The
yeah.
logic was dumb. And it was like, it just caused so much debate about it because it's like $80 for Mario Kart of all games. Who is paying these prices? And it kind of makes me sad, because video games, even though they're for everyone of any age, it's like we can all admit the target audience for a majority of games has always been children. And much like so much in this world right now, the children have been priced out of the thing that they are the target audience for. They're priced out of video games. They're priced out of trading cards, whether it's sports or Pokemon. They're getting priced out of so much stuff because these companies just want to milk the most money out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I feel like there's a new standard being set though. With, I mean, it's been a thing for years. Like a indie company comes out of nowhere, prices their game at like what? Well, now it's $50 compared to like the usual like 70, 80. And they like introduce a product that's so much better than the leading AAA companies have produced in recent years. So it's like, will there be a shift? Because I feel like when it comes to like the two, Nintendo Switch 2, it's like there's a lot of handhelds that are coming out that are priced the same. Like there's one called like the Odin 2 something. And dude, that thing's a machine. And it could do so much more than just play Nintendo games. So I was like, why would anyone like realistically want to limit themselves only to Switch Nintendo games when the pirates of the internet are creating emulators for those games as well. So I feel like people are like shifting away from AAA, which should be like the case, but then there's a lot of like the the sheep, I guess you could say. They're like, oh, new Call of Duty, here's $80, take my money. Oh, new FIFA, here $60 plus $2,000 in packs. Can't wait to do this again next year.
I literally said the same thing about the Switch when it released because I was like, people are gonna complain and then still go buy it, still go buy the games, and like no change is ever gonna come out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because again, like Dom said about the whole, wanting to be a part of the experience. And it's just kind of annoying because it's like, dang, no matter how much you complain, you're just never gonna see change because these people, they're too, like Gio said, they're too much like sheep. They're just gonna follow along.
I feel like we should switch the conversation to something a little bit happier.
Um,
Dominic, tell us about Tarkov, man. The hit game
dude,
Tarkov.
the
Or,
hit game that's. Oh, what's up?
I was gonna say we should also let Dom kind of talk a bit more positively about the new GTA game since it seems like we just kind of tore a lot of the gaming industry to shreds, but obviously it's still a game he and a lot of people are very excited for, especially given that it's
Really?
what, 12
Mm.
years, 13 years.
Yeah, around there. Um, yeah, man, GTA 6, there's gonna be multiple high heel icons on the map for whatever reason, and I'm gonna be there first thing first. In
This
game,
dude.
of course, in game. But
In game.
we can move on to the hit game that's been in beta for more than 7 years. Escape from Tarkov, dude, no way. Um, I guess to put it short, Escape from Tarkov is a somewhat realistic military-esque extraction style shooter video game that I've been hooked on for the past year. And so far at this point, which is a cult favorite, I would say, amongst those who are like very much into like military-esque video games. I was never really a military person of my own, but I've learned like a lot about like gunsmith stuff, weapons, ammunition, like names, styles, the look, and armor types and such as that, just because of this game that was introduced by our good friend uh
Diego.
Diego. Diego. And I came across a couple of other YouTubers and playing the game and such as that, and it just further introduced me to the fun. And I feel like this game is an absolute huge contrast to from like games from like Call of Duty, where it's super, fast paced action, all action, no stopping, no time to breathe. It's just constant, constant, constant. As compared to Tarkov, where it's such a slow game that every movement is like it's of importance, right? But every action you do has a consequence, as compared to Call of Duty, where it's mostly where you die, you immediately respawn, you spawn, you die, you spawn, you die, you spawn, you die. But in Tarkov, it's pretty much you get one life per raid, and these raids are every time you enter within a map region within the game, and you technically only have one life per se. But if you die, you lose everything that you had on your character, in which you carry yourself, loot, weapons, armor, such as that, and you have to complete quests that require you to survive with said loot, armor, or weapon. And if you die, then you got to restart all over again, which is kind of the fun part of the game, where you have to strategize, plan your routes, and again, everything has a consequence to it. In other words, as like important as to like, let's say how much ammo you bring or what kind of armor you want to pick. Do you want to be more heavy? Sure, you'll have more protection, but you'll be slower. Would you rather be more quicker? You could have less armor on, but now you're more vulnerable to heavy hitting rounds per se. Or would you rather pick a long range weapon as compared to a short range weapon? And the map rotation is also super important. Bosses also exist on the game, so you have to be super mindful of them. And I've been just super hooked on this game, and there have been so many scary moments uh, with the recent Labyrinth event that just came out, playing with Giovanni and our good other friends, Ricardo and Diego. And I've been having an absolute blast. And I gotta say, this is my favorite game so far. And I made the joke that the game's been in beta for about 6-7 years, but the main game developer, Nikita, has just put out an announcement that the game is potentially, all right, let's say potentially, grain of salt, is gonna have a full release, a 1.0 release coming out end of this year. Will it happen? Maybe. Will it be full of bugs? Probably. But I just can't wait till this game finally has an ending, in which this game currently does not have like a story ending, but players have been looking forward to it for the past half decade and more.
See, one of the very unique features of Tarkov is well, in PvP there's the like every, what was it, 4 to 6 months the game is wiped, and that essentially means all the progress that you've accumulated in that playtime will be erased from your account, and you have to start again from zero. And we tried playing PvP, like we really did. We gave it like a good, like, what, 3 months maybe.
Yeah.
And the one thing about it is like it's a it's a very niche game in the sense that it's not very like beginner friendly, and all of the majority of the player base is like veterans at this point. So if you don't start the wipe with everybody else and move at the same progress as everybody else, you're left behind very fast. And while you have like a little MP5, the Giga Chads already have kitted out MP4 M4s with level 4, level 5 armor, and it just made the game like not fun for us to play. So we switched to PvE, like what, 6 months ago. It's been a
Yeah.
long time. Like around December, I think during the winter sale, we like the majority of us switched to PvE. Diego didn't want to switch, but dude, Tarkov is a very unique game, and it has a lot of like interesting features. That the gameplay is interesting because you go into a raid and you have a time limit of 40 minutes, depending on the map, to pretty much do what you want to do. And if you don't extract within those 40 minutes, you're considered missing in action, and you just lose all your progress. And there's like a lot of NPCs that, like the scavs and the PMCs and the bosses, and like getting into a situation where you're just like surrounded by literally everything and you still manage to survive is like it's so much fun.
That's a real and true moment right there. A real and true moment. And there's like a whole story and like background to like why you're in this situation where you're basically a private military contractor who has been abandoned, and now you're just left to like live on your own, or I guess die on your own. But I feel like the story, even though the story is a little iffy, I feel like I've enjoyed it. Pretty much the whole gameplay aspect follows the quest line, and each quest line relies on multiple traders. These traders pretty much give you a whole market of things to buy, and as you complete these quests that are given to you by these traders, you get to buy more things, buy better things, better ammo, better guns, better armor. Um, and as time goes on, you'll start getting more difficult tasks, such as let's say having to traverse the labs region, which is an underground laboratory that is super difficult, as the AI in that region is like I don't know how to explain it, but they're called rogues. They're more difficult as compared to like the scavengers, which are just regular, just people
So
trying to
like
survive with
civilians,
guns.
yeah.
Yeah, with guns. Um, so I definitely love that the sort of difficulty curve people have to learn. It is as Gio mentioned, it is very difficult to learn off the bat. But once you start getting into the rhythm over time, per wipe, let's say, I say this game is an absolute blast, especially with friends. Especially with friends.
You know, Dominic, to this day, I don't know a single thing about the story.
There are YouTube video lore, but it's like an hour or so. But I think it's kind of fun, getting to know like who the traders are, like what's your reason on being there for and all that. And there's a movie as well called like Tarkov Raid in quotation marks, and the movie was pretty fun. Not called, it was pretty fun.
Dude, apparently they're making another one,
No way.
or they're like working on another Tarkov movie.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, man. So that's another game that we've been playing as a group. But besides that, it's been kind of quiet on the gaming with friends side because we haven't like found like the next thing to play. Like we tried playing like the what do they call like the popular games at the time, like Lethal Company, um,
Content warning.
Content Warning, and we even went back to playing Fortnite. But I don't know, it's been kind of dry on the like the multiplayer side of gaming. There's a lot of like good games out, but they're like single player story games, like and stuff.
Indeed so. Indeed so.
So like with a minute left, Jack, any final words?
Nah, man, just glad to be back, and hopefully we can continue strong.
Heck yeah, man.
We'll try
We all
to
got
have
jobs now, bro.
yeah, we'll try to have a more consistent upload schedule. But yeah, man, we're low-key kind of back.
Low key though, low key, because you never know what might happen. Also, Dom, before
Yeah.
this thing cuts us off, isn't it crazy that the one thing that we never got to cover because of our year-long hiatus was the Kendrick Lamar beef?
Oh my Jeebus, you're right. Dude, there's so many episodes there's a lot of episodes we have to cover this on, dude. And it's still ongoing to this day.
We could just
Wow.
blame Gio, right?
Oh yeah, Gio, it's your fault, bro.
Yeah, it's all Gio's fault. All right, thank you all for joining for this one. Catch you on the next one.